All right, everyone, welcome back. Welcome back, and make yourself comfortable because we're going to look at something today that I normally don't show you, and that is a reproduction toy, or is it maybe a reissue? Kind of hard to tell on these, but these do have an interesting story. So before we move on, get cozy and comfy, grab a drink, hydrate yourself, grab a snack, get some energy, focus, because we have a lot of things to look at with this toy. And also, if you're a lurker or you're just like perusing through the internets, right, hit the subscribe button and also the bell icon to be notified of the greatest toys in the history of the internet. That's it. That's it, bar none. You're not going to find cooler toys than over here. Well, the Robot Hut has some cool stuff, but probably not as cool as me, John. Well, he has the good life-size stuff. So that he has an edge on the life-size stuff, for sure. Anyway, this, my friends, is the Osaka Tin Toy Mr. Atomic that was a Yonezawa toy, also Tomy, and they did a beautiful job with the reproductions. Now, what's interesting about this toy is that back in the 90s when they came out, and yes, these are like now 30 years old, if you could believe it. I remember them being advertised, and I actually have some of the, not Antique Toy World, but Toy Shop Magazine. These were like advertised with the Robbie Space Patrol, the Jeeps, the sleds as they call them, for like $250. And man, that was a bargain and a half. And I think the Robbie Space Patrols were about $500, and those were deals because they plateaued at around $1,500 and have stayed there. And these have kind of flip-flopped, but I wanted a silver. I don't have an original Mr. Atomic, and I don't have a silver reproduction. I have a blue reproduction, I believe. And I said, I'm going to grab this. What the hell? So MTH made these, which was Mike's Train House out of Korea. And Mike's Train House makes naturally trains. And for some reason, he decided to make the Robbie Space Patrol sled, Jeep, whatever you want to call it, mechanized robot. And back then, that was a hot commodity, though. Those were selling for like $25,000. Again, that was pre-inflation money, pre the Hong Kong administration that's like printed trillions and devalued the dollars. So, that was some serious coin back in the 90s to get a Robbie Space Patrol sled. And this Mr. Atomic was also high dollars. I think they were in the $10,000 to $15,000 range back in the day, during the heyday, because people didn't know what was really rare back then. That was the other thing. But I got to tell you something. Mr. Atomics are still pretty rare. It's hard to find these things, mint, and especially mint in the box. So I think they've had a resurgence, a renaissance, if you will. Maybe more so than the Robbie Space Patrol sled. So anyway, here's the box that was fashioned just like the original. And, one of the types of things that, initially I said, I don't really like just the plain box. Reminds me of a Cragston box. But now I do like the illustration. It looks kind of like a picture, but it's also more of an illustration. Over here in the corner, you could see Osaka Tin Toy Institute, the Tin Age Collection. And over here you have 1962 Tomy Yonezawa, all right reserved. So it's singular. They have one right. What right is it? Who the hell knows? But that right is reserved somehow. Now, I love this font, Mr. Atomic, in like this electricity style. Maybe this would be good for Electro from Spider-Man. And he is a thinking robot. How do we know that? Not just because it says so here. And look at this nice clean font here. Because he has lights. And when lights flash, I guess it means he's thinking. Now, that's not really that outlandish, right? Because when our brains are working and our synapses are firing, they probably light up too. So that's actually an accurate description. And he does have a beep beep sound. Now, the side panel kind of tells you, again, the same things. Thinking robot, flashing lights, beep beep noise, like the Roadrunner, moves in all directions, and he's battery operated. And down here it tells you the Osaka Tin Toy Institute. And there's your Yonezawa logo there. And another illustration. And that's pretty much the box. Over here you have the number. I believe they made 1,200 of these. So not super rare, because you have to keep in mind when collectors buy these, play with them and destroy them like kids, right? So a run of 1,200, probably still have like 1,189 of these still surviving. Now, in the box, you also have this cool card here that I guess you were supposed to mail off. And over here, it shows you the official report of the Patent Office about Mr. Atomic in 1963. What a cool year. The year of the split-window Corvette and King Kong versus Godzilla. And some very cool Ferraris, too. So I guess you fold it or cut it there, and you mail it to Osaka Tin Toy and register your toy. What do you get? I have no idea. It doesn't say here. I mean, and you could see here on the card, as the king of toy robots, Mr. Atomic was born in Tokyo in 1962. Manufactured by Tomy, and yada, 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 yada. We at Osaka Tin Toy reserve all rights to manufacture and sell Mr. Atomic worldwide. So this might have been like some shenanigans going on with MTH. They had to put that in. So here's the date, 1993. So next year, this will be his 30th birthday. So for perspective, we were exactly at the midway point in 1962, 63, let's say. 62, 63, right? 30 years after they made this toy, when nobody knew really what the rarest of the rares truly was. They weren't like sure it was Machine Man or the Mechanical Commander, the R Robot, or a Diamond Planet. This was the hot ticket, the hot commodity. And I guess they jumped on it and made this very faithful copy. And man, if they would have known, maybe they would have picked something else. And also, by the way, there's this card in here. And it tells you in here that this is limited to 1,200 makes, if you could see that. And this seems to be number 1016. And these two X's, maybe they were planning on making like 10,000 of these if it would have been more popular. But this is cool. And I'm glad they never cut the card and mailed it in, because it makes it more collectible that way, right? So that's your box. So the box has these goodies. And the only reason I'm showing you this is because if you yourself want to go out and buy it, you might want to make sure it's complete with these little doodads. Now, you might find that postcard cut and mailed in, and then you're just going to have to live with half of the postcard. Now, as far as the robot, I believe I had a Mr. Atomic original once, and because I like my toys clean and shiny, the dome was very scratched, and it just had some oxidation and stuff like that, some schmutz. So I didn't keep it, but it would have been nice to have one side by side, and ultimately I will get one. So if you're out there and you have one to sell, hit me up, send me an email, because I'll buy it. But at some point, if I have them side by side, I will do a side-by-side video, because I don't think anyone's ever actually shown them. But to my knowledge, my understanding, this is a very faithful reproduction. So you can see here, it's got that beautiful atom. Now the thinking brain with some coils in here. I really dig this bullet-style robot. Kind of has these devilish horns over here. You can see some more lithography inside there. This is one of the nicer brains, if you will, of any robot. And cool lithography. I mean, they dialed down some of the heavy details that you would see in the 50s. But even just cool things like the perforation of the tin, like the circle, is really cool. And you have some more details on the side here. Vents, panels, rivets. The arms are cool. They kind of swing loosely. And then the feet are a paddle. And then here's your bump and drive mechanism and your ancillary wheels here. That's it as far as the toy. So all that's left to do is turn it on and possibly have to follow it around. So let me click the button. And I love the colors of this too. Oh, by the way, here's a Yonezawa logo. So it might not be hard to try to like pass this off as an original, other than, I mean, if you see one this clean in 2022, you'd have to ask yourself what's going on. You know what? I am going to pick the camera up this time. So let me get my base out of the way. So yeah, we're going to do a little shaky, but you know what? I like it better this way. And this way I can zoom in on that. So let's get to that start button, which is right here. I'll turn it on and see those paddle feet moving? Let's see how the light show is performing under here, because it's supposed to be kind of like a wave action. And that's what you get. All right. I think that suffices. Very, very cool effect. Let me see if I can stabilize this now. Oh, this went a little longer than I thought for a reproduction. But you know what? This, to me, is one of the greatest reproduction toys ever made. The Robbie Space Patrol and the Mr. Atomic are the two greatest, in my opinion. I know there's been a lot of great smokers, and you could say the reissue smokers of the 90s, but then they ended up making so many smokers that kind of diluted it, in my opinion. So that is your 1993 issue. And like I was saying, so they waited 30 years to make the reproduction, and here we are 30 years from that point. Well, you know, technically 29, but in a few months we'll be like 30 years past. So Mr. Atomic, let's wish him a happy 60th birthday, because he was designed in 1962, so he is technically 60 years old. So a great, great, wonderful design, and I hope you liked it. If you do me a favor, thumb up the video, please, and don't forget to leave a remark. And as always, I appreciate your time. And with that, my friends, I will talk to you later.